Hey, everybody. Here we are on Saturday, October 5th, 2024, and we are on a 5-week streak after being off the grid for about 5 years. And on this beautiful fall day in New England, yes, the venue has changed once again. I'll explain that to you. But I know at my end, this has been helpful in terms of kind of doing something I've always wanted to do. After the book was published, have a venue to continue the dialogue, if you will. Not through another book, not through commercial ventures, but just have one-on-one reflections, reinforcements, new chapters, even if they're virtual, to a book that was published almost a decade ago. And so I thank those of you that are sitting in on this. I hope you find it helpful. I continue to hear from some old friends, and I appreciate that. Some housekeeping for those of you that have expressed interest in the webinars from the initial Jelly team, the 16 hours basically of recorded material. It took me a little bit to get my infrastructure back in place so that you folks could purchase those. So that's now in place. So if you're interested, please email. And I apologize for the delay. It just has not been a priority for me. I've been doing a few things at this end, so I just want to put that out there. So thank you for that. But again, it's been an opportunity for me to have an opportunity to keep a dialogue going. Lots going on. So let's talk about the venue here first of all. As I continue with the current and also look ahead to the future. The current remains very well entrenched in what we're doing with Jocko Fuel, Chief Financial Officer for the company. So I have 3 offices, if you will, if you include my home office in Maine, where I've recorded a few sessions. That's the one that's got the real microphone. This is a laptop, and where we are here is this is my office in southern New Hampshire, actually, which gets my wife and myself a little bit closer to family. Remember, many of you know that I lived in Massachusetts for quite a while, lived on Cape Cod. The Boston Bamboo get-together, and I've heard from some of you folks from years ago. We'll repost that classic post one of these days along with some pictures. But you'll certainly recall where we lived on the Cape, and then about 5 years ago moved up to Maine to help Pete and Jocko with their companies. And so we're keeping the main place, but we're making our way a little bit farther south to get closer to family. The main house is a good 4.5-hour drive between where that place is and our daughter, now our first grandson, which is down in Central Mass. And now down here, we're about an hour and a quarter from the Mass residence of our daughter, and we're about just a little over 2 hours from our main place. So it's an easy pop, get down here. In the winter also, I'll probably be here. Deb and I will be here because of weather. The house, if you've seen pictures, the house on the lake in Maine is just gorgeous and great location, but it gets dicey in the winter. There's no garage. It's right on the lake. It's at the bottom of a hill that you've got to go down to get to the house because it sits on the lake. And so it gets really, really dicey and dangerous to get there in the wintertime. So this is really our formal residence, and again, closer to family. So and what this is, and maybe I'll show you some pictures later on, but this is a building where it's a co-op, a co-work live opportunity. So, we have an apartment here, top floor corner that faces south, which is great in the winter. But where I am right now is in an office. So in the first floor, there are a lot of these common offices. You see a lot of these places being built these days. And so I have a nice large office. I've got multiple monitors. This is my laptop. I got 2 monitors in front of me here as well. Got my Jocko Fuel fridge, and obviously I've got a little bit of product behind me. So it works really well because all I have to do is come downstairs. We're on the 4th floor. This is in the 1st. And I can walk across the street and get food and all that. So a really, really, really great place in southern New Hampshire. So anyway, a little bit of biography info, if you will. Where do we want to start this week in terms of content? Maybe we start with the classic post from January 2009 that I just put up, which is titled The Jazz Trader. Many of you may recall this one. I think this is in the book as well, but I'm not sure. But it talks about what I would consider to be the rhythm or the personality of trading and in the markets. And the takeaway when you read that really is that there's no right way to trade, just like there is no right way for someone to do an improv version of solo in terms of in this case it was a high school jazz band. And so read through it. Hope you get some good takeaways. I read through it again this morning and again just now, and it talks about rhythm. It talks about pace. I've talked often about feeling the heartbeat of the market. We've talked about, with exceptions, of course, that the market largely has been, fairly tightly confined. A lot of election noise, that's going on right now. But within that relatively tight range, you get a lot of fake moves and range trading, and as I said, I think last week, great, just adjust to that, and it goes back to the Jellyfish methodology of adapting to the market and that presents itself to you and not forcing your style on the market, and don't want to belabor that point, but the improvisation nature of this business, when I say this business, the trading business, as well as the rhythm that you're trying to stay with, the beat that you're trying to work within, as a backdrop, creating the opportunity and then morphing and melding with your personality, and then that creates your business, a business that hopefully you can be an entrepreneur. You can be yourself. You're not necessarily copying someone that does something else, and that's really what we taught throughout all the Jelly programs, the network, the global network. It wasn't necessarily a method. Yeah, we got helpers. Yeah, there's some givens in terms of the market industry. Friday was a great example after the jobs report came out. Pop on the news, what I would call air fill back down to support, and then the market's going to make a decision on where it goes, and then pre-market it just climbed all the way back up to where it popped to, and then once the general market session opened, you opened with, again, a lot of air between the regular trading hour price, the opening price, and its support, and so you had to back and fill there. A bit choppy at times. You saw what the market often does during the day in a quasi bull market, which is slow movements up and then quick drops, little air pockets, which happened on Friday. And then after 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, all the indicators, between the volatility indicators, momentum indicators, everything. And even if you're looking at volume profile, which I'm not a big user of, but I glance at it from time to time, you had like 3 or 4 consecutive premises backing each other up that allowed you to go long on retracements once you broke certain resistance points. Look, that's not rocket science, but sometimes it's tough to separate oneself from what the market is doing. Robin Dane always had a great phrase and question in terms of what is the market doing? What is really happening? She just always asked that. What is really happening? And sometimes it's a matter of disconnecting from yourself and finding out, seeing, observing, learning, even if it's getting beaten up and whipped around a little bit, that says, okay, slow down, right? Until that premise presents itself. And then when you get multiple premises, like strands on a rope, coiling together, stronger rope, stronger premise, stronger opportunity, stronger probability, and then the opportunity to trade from the long side late in the day. So, again, that's not anything that I'm, a scientist of or a surgeon of. It's just the way the markets are, but sometimes it's just tough to disconnect ourselves from that. So, that's a bit of a nugget, a little bit of an expansion on the Jazz Trader post. What else can we talk about? I posted a couple of tweets. For those of you in the San Diego area, I hope you were able to get out to Walmart this morning at 4:34 a.m., where Jocko was doing some calisthenics. It was cool. It was roughly about 20-25 minutes of a workout. We had about 700 people there. Burpees. What was the sequence? Burpees, push-ups, jumping jacks, sit-ups, and more burpees. I think that's what it was. And it was 1 minute each, and then a 1 minute break, and then I think 4 or 5 sets. And so we're going to do that at a number of other Walmarts around the country, and so that's all good. Talked a little bit about, again, the Jellyfish nature, and it's interesting because I was talking to my boss here in the corporate world, and he's read the book, by the way, and he's very well aware of what we mean by jellyfish in terms of needing to drop the ego, drop the spine, drop the hey, I'm great, that exists in every one of us, and just try to understand the market flow and just adapt to it. And in the business world, very, very true as well. Whether you are, dancing around a dicey economic situation, what are consumer patterns doing? What's happening in the merger and acquisition world? I mean, there's a lot of parts of the business that evolve, change, ebb, flow, just like the markets. And the successful companies are able to adapt. They're able to certainly anticipate, which is required in the markets, but it's also the ability to adapt to that which which presents itself to you. And so the same thing, the same concept here. In fact, we had a text exchange, Pete and I did last week, about, okay, got to pivot a little bit on some things. And so that's great, jellyfish. And he knows what it means, and I know what it means, and we go with that. So, the notions, hopefully some of the notions that we talked about over the years, and whether it's in the investment community, trading community, or your life in general, just not trying to force it. And again, one of the things I like about what we're doing here is, look, there's a little bit of commercial here, but that's not why I'm doing it. You just happen to see the backdrop. I have to explain what I've been doing for a while. And it's exciting. And again, like I've said before, it's the opportunity to work with people that are all about striving for excellence, which is exactly what we were doing in the financial markets. But aside from that, I've been asked to speak over the years again, at various forums, and I just don't care to right now. If you recall back in the day, I used to say that the person you want to talk to in these exhibits, in these fairs, in these shows, is not the people in the booths. It's that person that's standing in the corner. Remember this? That has a smile on his or her face. And they're just kind of looking around, want to keep up to date with the industry and the tools and the toys. But more importantly, kind of just getting a barometer, gauging the view of the market, where it's at, where traders are at, and whether that translates to market rhythms, or whether that just gives you a little bit more information to digest, internalize, and then incorporate into your business. That's the person that I want to talk to. And, I know it was a challenge for me as my public persona, career, whatever you want to call it, exposure, just went to the moon, back in the day. The book, the radio, the TV, the blog, the diary, on and on. And, the ability to have stepped back now for a while to focus on this other, key effort where, as I said before, I'm having a ball. But now getting back into it the way that I'm getting back into it, it as I've said before, it sort of goes back to the beginning. And for me, it's really cool because I like you, get inundated with all sorts of stuff. Hey, buy my program, do this, do that. And that's never what this has been about. Yes, we've had educational programs and tools, absolutely. And it's been a business of sorts. But the piece of the business, the core of the business, was always about what we just talked about. It's to self-actualize. It's to develop oneself, where if one can align with the markets, if one can be disciplined, if one can do that which most other people either can't or won't do, those are the people that we're working on developing in terms of both the trading industry and life. And that's exactly what we're doing here. Between the movie, The Way of the Warrior Kid is coming out, that is just about ready to wrap up filming. I think Chris Pratt announced today that today was his last day. They were filming in San Diego. They wrap up tomorrow, or not tomorrow, next week, I believe, in the LA area. And then that's it. I mentioned last week, 44-day shoot. And if and when you get a chance to watch this, well, you get a chance if and when you do watch the movie, I would encourage those of you that are in the financial industry to look for the similarities. Look for the similarities. Look for all the parallels. Look for all the parables that relate to a lot of the things that we've been talking about over the years. And it's the exact same thing. And that's the crux of the book. That's that last sentence. Is this a book about trading or life? And it was a complete rhetorical question, right? I think some people kind of still scratching their head. Well, what is it? Because there is a lot of trading in there, but that's what it's about. It's about, supporting each other, loving each other, and giving each other the tools, the confidence, the lessons, so that we don't have to keep figuring things out on our own. And that's the takeaway. That's the end goal of everything, really, that I've tried to use as that North Star. Were we always successful with it? Did we lose focus at times? Absolutely. But, that's the intent that I'm going back into this. So I will leave you with, as we look ahead, I'm all for suggestions and ideas. One of my personal financial challenges right now is I have a lot of capital on the side. Now, that's not been a horrible thing with interest rates, right? You can sock money away for 5-6%, have it fully liquid, and just have it sitting there. Now, I know that's not the 100% trading returns that is the typical goal, but I'm going to make some decisions. And yes, I have a network, and I have past students, and I have people that I can rely on. And I haven't focused enough on how to divvy, distribute, whatever. So my point is, there's something I want to do with that. I continue to be a believer that life is not meant to live alone or pursue alone. So, I got it available. I'm just saying. And so think about it. Think about it. That's all I got for today. Again, welcome to Southern New Hampshire, fall in New England. Beautiful time of year. Next couple of weeks, the boat goes out of the lake. The docks come out of the lake. They can't stay there in the winter. Be spending some more time down here. And if you're ever in the Boston area, just give me a holler. Right? Let's get together in the spirit of the Boston Bamboo Cookout that we'll talk about another time. Take care. God bless. We'll catch you next week.